What we're going to do, and we'll have it so that the last loop you've just done is facing you, right closest to your body, like that. You're literally going to take it with your hands and flip it over, okay? So it doesn't look quite the same this way around. Make sure that you've got all of your petals that you created lying flat to the table and they haven't tucked themselves under. Okay, now then, we were travelling in a clockwise direction, but because we've turned it upside down, we're now travelling anti-clockwise, okay? And the other thing to note is that we were before reaching in through the top and pulling the yarn through that way. But to keep the same stitch looking the same all the way around, we're now pulling, because we're upside down, we're putting our fingers through underneath and pulling the yarn down to create the loop. Okay, it does mess with your head a little bit the first time you do it, but once you get into the rhythm of doing this way round, it will feel more normal again. Okay, so the only trick really is to make sure you're not pulling too hard. See, I've got a little bit of fluff there I can remove. You're not pulling it too hard as you go round, that you're loosening the loops that you've just created. So fingers come through from underneath and pick up the yarn and pull it back through. Now you really need to concentrate at this point, okay, because see, I've already just almost done it wrong there. I went through the top to pull it through that way, and I'll show you the difference. If I pull that one through from underneath, what I get on this side is a V shape. Can you see that V shape? Whereas on the previous stitch, I get a bar across the stitch. So that's what we're aiming for, the bar across. So which means we need to go underneath, finger and thumb through to pick up the yarn and pull it down. Okay, underneath the stitch, finger and thumb through, take the yarn and pull it through. Now we're going to go round and do approximately 1 round. Okay, before we slightly adjust what we're doing to bring the cushion in on itself. So fingers through from underneath, pick up the yarn and pull the loop through. Fingers through from underneath, pull the yarn through the loop, down through the loop. Fingers through from underneath, the yarn over the top and pull it down and through. Okay. Okay, so I think we're almost all the way around. I think there's probably another couple I could do here. Let's have a look. Yep, that's looking pretty even to me. So now then, what we're aiming to do is, as we continue going round, we want this to start to curl up and close in, okay? And the only way to do that is if we start shortening this gap between our loops, okay? So you need to have a look at focusing on doing that for the next way around, okay? So what we're going to do is, if we go to the next stitch, so we'll put our fingers through from underneath as before. You're going to bring the yarn across and pull it through. But this time you want to kind of use both fingers to kind of adjust so that the gap between these two here, can you see I'm pulling it slightly tighter, is a little bit tighter and a little bit shorter than the previous one. So I'm going to keep going and show you how it starts to curl up if I start tightening. Can you see that length there is quite long? The one I've just done is much shorter, the gap between. It's literally just because I've pulled the yarn in like this, but tried to keep this distance a bit shorter. And as you start to shorten that distance all the way around, you will find that it starts to curl up. See, I almost went in the wrong way then. So from underneath, pull the yarn through, underneath. I'm going to bring the yarn around this way so it makes a bit more sense. So underneath, pull the yarn through, and you'll find that the loops look like they want to sort of shrink back down and out where they came from, but after a while you're almost kind of training them to pull in, and they will start to curl up in a moment. So if you see now as I go a bit fast around, this side's already lifting. And when it gets to start looking a little bit like a bowl or a cauldron shape, we're going to open up our packet of hollow fibre and start stuffing the centre of it. So you can see now it is starting to curl up around the edges, see? And as you go around, you just want to constantly be tightening or shortening the distance between the loops. So just making them a little bit closer together as you go all the way around. So you can probably see now it's turning into a little bit of a basket now, slowly. Keep going. Shortening and shortening all the way around. And it's really lifting up now. See that? Okay, so do one more. There we go. So we've got a nice kind of basket shaped item. And now we're going to open our packet of hollow fibre. So it doesn't look like a very large quantity, but actually it's been packed in quite tightly. So